Good afternoon all, it's Adam here from Highview Accounting, just coming to you today with a video on how to set up QuickBooks Online for payroll, for JobKeeper application process. It's a bit of a tricky one, so we thought the best way to tackle this would be to share a video with you all to walk you through the process from start to finish on how to make sure you're eligible, make sure you have the eligible employees, and then go on to doing the actual payroll setup and then the pay runs to make sure that you are meeting the requirements for JobKeeper payments. So without further ado, I will begin showing you how to do this. All right, so once you're in your QuickBooks software, first thing you need to do is you need to go into the employees section. This will usually be up here for you. It's this bit down here for me as it's a different version. So click on employees. All right, so now that you're in the payroll program of QuickBooks, first thing you want to do is you actually want to check to see whether or not your employees are eligible. Now, thankfully, QuickBooks has released a nice little report for you that details this for you. It basically looks at the background detail of your employees, their pay type, their employment type, how long they've been there based on their employment start date, and then basically uses these details to reel off to you who are eligible and who are not. So to get to this report, click on reports, and then just down here on the employer report, you'll see a JobKeeper eligibility report. So click on that one there. Now, first thing we need to do is set up, if you have multiple pay schedules, you need to select them all or set them individually. In this case, I only have one pay schedule, so I'll click weekly, and then I have one just for the whole entire group. So I'll click on that one as well. And then once that's done, you need to click submit. And as you can see there, it lists out all the employees that you have for your organisation, including their date of birth, their start date, their employment type, whether or not they're an Australian resident, and then a few other little details. But the most important line is this one here, eligibility status. Now, as you'll see, I've got 3 employees set up here. So I've got myself, I've got Diane, I've also got Nicholas. Now, based on their details within their employment setup, you'll see that they've determined whether or not these employees are eligible or not. So with myself, you'll see that I'm a full-time employee. So straight away, I actually tick off the criteria to be an eligible employee for the purposes of the JobKeeper, as long as I was employed prior to the 1st of March 2020. Going down to the next person, Diane, as you can see, her start date was the 14th of the 7th. So she was employed prior to the 1st of March 2020. However, her employment type was casual. That automatically makes her ineligible, as the requirements for the JobKeeper package is that the employee was employed prior to the 1st of March 2020, and if they're a casual employee, they need to have been employed for at least 12 months' time. So straight away, as you can see over here, ineligibility reasons, casual employee, and they've been with the employer for less than 12 months service as at the 1st of March 2020. So straight away, we can go, okay, we cannot apply for JobKeeper payment for this individual. We look at the last individual now, Nicholas McPhillips. We can see that the start date was the 12th of February 2019, and he's also a casual employee. So we're looking at that casual employee issue again there. Now, the software straight away says, yep, they're eligible because they're a casual employee and they've been employed for more than 12 months service as at the 1st of March 2020. Now, this isn't a definitive result. You still need to consider the individual circumstances for an employee that's casual, due to the fact that they need to be continuously ongoing employment. It can't be seasonal employment, it can't be sporadic employment. It needs to be consistent and ongoing for you to tick this box off. So once you know that you are ascertained your eligible employees, the next job for you is to complete the employee nomination forms. Now, I will link that below for you in the video, so you can have an idea of where to go to get these forms. They need to be completed by all the eligible employees as per what's listed out in your JobKeeper eligibility report. Make sure you have these on file and preferably have those forwarded to your accountant as well, so we can keep these on file on your behalf. So the next step now is we need to set up the payroll settings within QuickBooks Online so that we can actually report the correct pay type to the ATO. It's quite a tricky criteria the ATO require to tick this box off. So we need to set up that pay item in the background first before we then go and process the pay runs for each employee. All right, so back to the employee section in the main category. We'll then go to payroll settings. And then under payroll settings, under pay run settings, you'll see an item called pay categories. This is where we need to set up the actual pay category, for the JobKeeper top-up payments. So go to pay categories, and it'll open up all the pay categories you currently have. Now, next job you need to do is you need to include a new pay category. So you click the green add button at the top right hand corner there. So once you click add, it'll ask for a pay category name. Now, this is very important that you name this correctly, as it's a requirement of the ATO. So the name of the category will be JobKeeper, and then dash top up. Sorry, I had to make sure I got the exact detail there correct as per the guidelines of the QuickBooks themselves. So once you've got that name category set up, click save. Now that you're in the pay category section, first thing you need to do is you need to change the units to a fixed amount. That allows you to force your top-up payment to be $750 per week or $1,500 per fortnight. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to stuff around with hours of work and pay rates. You can just force it to be what it needs to be based on the top-up. Now, the JobKeeper top-up payment is exempt from superannuation, so you need to change this one here to 0%. Very important that you do that. Now, the rest of these tick boxes here, you can leave them as they are, as the JobKeeper top-up payment is taxable. It is not payroll tax exempt. It is included in W1 in the journal, so it's an ordinary income in respect to taxation. However, it is an allowance for the purposes of reporting, and then we don't need to worry about the last box there. Now, the other very important factor is that you click the payment classification and you change that to allowance other. That is the way the ATO is treating this payment as an allowance, as it is not ordinary earnings. It is an allowance given by the government. So click that on there, and then once you're done, click save.
All right, so step one of doing the JobKeeper setup in the background is done. So we've done the top-up payment. Next thing we need to do is actually set up another pay item, being what fortnight we're actually going to commence utilizing the JobKeeper top-up system. Now, this might sound a bit weird, but we actually have to include in our pay runs through our STP lodgements a fortnight period of when we actually intend to start claiming the JobKeeper payment. So maybe the first fortnight of the whole entire system, maybe the 10th fortnight of the whole entire system. There are 13 fortnights. You can join in at a later point in time. So it may be that you don't start using it as of the 30th of March to the 13th of April, which is the first fortnight of the whole entire system. Now, looking at that, to basically create this setup, we also need to look at what code we need to use. Now, depending on the period that you're going to do the setup for, so whenever you're going to opt in for the JobKeeper system is what code you need to actually set up for this process. To know what code you need to put in, QuickBooks, which I will link down below, QuickBooks has a description and has instructions on what to do. So I've already got this open up for you. Now, basically it has the allowance description type. So depending on when you intended to opt in to the JobKeeper system, you will have a description type or name that you need to give that pay item. So in most examples, and for most people who are opting in as of the 30th of March, so basically the whole entire start of the program, then you will be using this allowance description JobKeeper start FN01. So basically meaning you're going to start the JobKeeper process on the first fortnight of the system. However, let's say that you are doing pretty good still, you haven't been impacted by COVID-19 just yet. So maybe March, you're doing pretty good, April, you're doing good. And then May, you start to see that 30% decline that you require to be eligible. And then you may go, okay, well, I'm going to start opting in June because I know I've hit the requirements. I can start using it then. So then you need to then opt in and notify the ATO that you are opting in through your pay runs. So you'll need to look at what date you're going to commence doing that. So it may be that you start on the 1st of June. So, okay, well, on the 1st of June, I fall within this bracket here. So then you need to create an allowance called JobKeeper Start FN05. So basically, you just need to find when you're going to opt in, and then you need to find the corresponding allowance that matches the opt-in date. You can do this at any point in time, but this is very important to notify the ATO, yes, I am opting in for the JobKeeper payment. But for this example, I'm going to use JobKeeper Start FN01, as I believe most people will probably be utilizing this video for that one in particular. So in QuickBooks again, we need to create a new pay run item, so a new pay run category. So again, we need to go to add pay category, and then I'm going to call that pay category JobKeeper-Start-FN01. Again, if you can't remember, just go back to the QuickBooks example and you'll be able to find the right detail that you require. So I'm going to set that up now. So once you click start, it's going to be the same details as before. So JobKeeper Start, it's going to be on an fixed rate, 0% super, all these items as they currently are, and you're going to set up as an allowance in brackets other. Simple as that, no need to go any more into it. Now that we've created all the pay run categories in the back end of QuickBooks and we are ready to now process the payments to your employees that are eligible for the JobKeeper payment, we have a few steps we need to do first to ensure that number one, we do prepare the correct repayment or correct top up to each of the employees that are entitled. However, we also notify the ATO that we can intend to commence claiming the JobKeeper top up payment from a certain fortnight. Now, we've already set up the pay run item being the starting fortnight, but we actually need to include that into a pay run to then lodge with the ATO through our STP compliance software, aka through QuickBooks QBE, which will then notify the ATO that we will intend to use that fortnight as our first claiming period. Now, to do that, we will need to prepare what I like to call an unscheduled pay run, or another pay run that's on top of the original pay run we've already completed. Now, as you may know, in my pay runs at the moment, I already have a pay run for the period of the 30th of March 2020 to the 5th of April 2020. Consequently, that is actually the first week of the first fortnight of the JobKeeper application process. So in this case, all we need to do now is recognize what employees we need to then create a top-up payment for. So I'm looking to this pay period to establish which employees we need to top up for and how much we need to top them up for. Now, as we noted before, myself and Nicholas McPhillips are the two that are eligible for the JobKeeper payment. Now, with myself, I've already earned taxable earnings of $1,045. So I'm already over that $750 per week or $1,050 per fortnight requirement. So I don't need to include a top-up payment. There's nothing more I need to do. It is already correct, and there's no need to declare a top-up payment, so to speak, as it will be done correctly when we lodge with the ATO at the end of the month for your monthly reporting requirements. Again, with Diane, we don't need to worry about her as she's ineligible or she's exempt from receiving the JobKeeper payment. So the next one we need to worry about is Nick McPhillips. Now, Nick McPhillips' gross earnings, so taxable earnings, not after tax, his taxable earnings are $600. Now, this is $150 less than the JobKeeper minimum threshold. So we need to include a top-up payment to him to ensure that we meet our eligibility requirements, being the $750 per week or $1,500 per fortnight. So we need to create another pay run on top of this current pay run to recognize this top-up payment and also to notify the ATO. So to do this, we'll close out of this current pay run and we will establish a new pay run. So in the pay run section, we will click add new pay run. We're going to use the same payment schedule, and I'm going to recopy the same pay period ending date. So it puts it on top of the original pay run that's already done. So that is the last date of that previous pay run. And we'll also leave the date pay run will be paid to, I suppose, today's date, because we're going to make that payment top up probably for today, as we are backdating officially. Next thing we need to consider is, do we want to manually add pay runs to this pay run, or do we want to automatically include the into employees? Now, I endorse just manually including the pay run, so manually including employees, because if we automatically put them all in, it'll automatically include all your employees, and they may not be necessary. I prefer to just add the employees in that I know I need to do a pay run top up for, and then do the top up for just those employees alone. So I'll manually add employees to this pay run, and we'll click create. So now that we're in the pay run, you'll see that there's no employees. So we need to add the employees that we intend to do the top up for. So I'm going to select only Nick McPhillips and then click add employee. And we're ready to go with adjusting his pay run for that week, for that top up. So as you can see, it's bringing in his pay run template. So we need to adjust that to what it needs to be. So first things first, we're going to change the hourly earnings type. We're going to change that to a permanent, the JobKeeper top up payment. And we're going to include 1 unit. And as you may remember before, the official payment that we gave to Nick for that week was $600 exactly. So we need to top that up to be $750. So we need to include an additional $150 top up payment in this pay run. So we're going to do 1 unit at $150. Now, we're not finished just yet. I know we've now met the minimum requirements. We've declared the $600 originally, plus the $150 top up, equaling the $750 required for the minimum weekly top up payments to meet your eligibility requirements. However, we also need to notify the ATO that we will be utilizing the first fortnight, as we set up with our pay run categories before, the first fortnight that we're going to commence applying and utilizing the JobKeeper top up system. So we need to include that in the pay run to then lodge with the ATO to say, hey, we're actually going to start claiming the JobKeeper payment in the first fortnight. It may be a different fortnight. It doesn't matter when you put this pay run item in any pay runs, as long as you do include it to notify the ATO, hey, this is the first fortnight we're actually going to claim for. So we need to then add an additional earnings line, being the JobKeeper start FN01. So this is it's basically like a notification line item. So basically it'll pop up in the STP lodgement when we lodge this return to the ATO, and it individually notifies the ATO, hey, we're actually going to start applying for the JobKeeper payment from this date onwards. So click that on there. Now this is where it gets a bit confusing, and I do endorse you to look at QuickBooks instructions on how to do this. However, we need to include an actual amount in this pay run item, otherwise it will not report to the ATO. I couldn't endorse that more. We need to ensure that we include at least 1 cent pay item to ensure it gets paid. Sorry, it gets reported to the ATO when you lodge your STP software. And that's because STP is set up in that if you don't report anything in the line item, it will not report that line. So we need to make sure we're including it. So we're going to include 1 unit, and we're just going to do it at 1 cent. Now 1 cent's immaterial, so I wouldn't really worry about it. You just make sure you do include that, so it does report to the ATO through the STP lodgement that you are applying for a JobKeeper and that you'll be using the first fortnight in this instance. So once that's done, we'll click save. And as you can see here, we've got, sorry, it's still loading. As you can see here now, we have taxable earnings of $150.01. There's no superannuation guarantee, as super is not applied on this payment as we set up when we did the pay run category setups before. So the net earnings are going to be $150. Now, commonly there would be tax on this. However, in the pay run templates that we set up, it won't be tax on this $150, but in an instance that you're paying, the employee $600 plus the $150 top up, it will take the correct amount of tax each week. Unfortunately, this is an issue we won't be able to handle perfectly, but it will work going forward. So once that's all completed and we've finished the top up for him, that will be the $600 originally plus $150. We are now hit our $750 minimum requirements. So once that's completed, we finalize that pay run. If you had any more employees, you need to do the likewise for them. However, you don't need to include this JobKeeper Start FN01 line. That's only for once, and that will just be notifying the ATO for all your employees that you'll be on that system. Once that's completed, click Finalize Pay Run. And then you can then publish your pay slips to employees. Now that's completed, again, we just need to lodge with the ATO by clicking on the file with ATO now. It's a little button here. Obviously, as this is a sample company, it does not have it in there. All right, so now we've done the back payments for your employees that were eligible for the JobKeeper top-up. How do we go about pay runs going forward? So basically, we need to worry about, okay, we've done everything in the background. We're ready to go. For the next 12 weeks, 12 fortnights, we need to ensure that we include that top-up payment within our pay runs, ensure that we're meeting our $750 per week or $1,500 per fortnight to each of our employees. So it's very simple from here on in. We just need to add an extra pay item for each of the eligible employees for as long as they continue to be eligible for that JobKeeper payment. So I'll quickly show you how to do that now. So I'm going to add a new pay run, and pretend like this is another pay run that you're going to be doing each week. So I'll click on new pay run. And then my next pay period is the 12th or 4th. Yes, I'm a little bit behind, bit slack, my bad. So basically create that pay run. Okay, so just like normal, as we discussed before, myself, I've already hit my minimum. So I've already got $750 per week minimum. And the requirement is that $750 per week. So I don't need to do anything more. I don't need to put any top-up payments in there. I don't need to add an extra item. I'm done. I'm ready to go. When you do your monthly lodgements with the ATO, you will notify the ATO that you'll be claiming for that person. So we're all good with myself. With Diane, she's not eligible, so she's exempt from the JobKeeper payment system. So we don't need to do anything for her either. So no top-up payments. You just pay her as she does for the hours that she's worked, and that's as easy as that. Now with Nicholas McPhillips, we need to top him up to his $750 per week to maintain our eligibility requirements. So that's very simple. So we're going to Nick's pay run and going to his details. So we're going to accept that he's done his 15 hours of $40.62 per hour. He's a very expensive employee of ours. And I'm going to add a new earnings line now. So click add earnings. And just like before, we need to add a top-up payment. So we've already declared to the ATO, we've already started this. We don't need to worry about this JobKeeper start line. All we need to do now is include a JobKeeper top-up payment. So click JobKeeper top-up. I'm going to do 1 unit to make it easy for ourselves. Now, our taxable earnings currently is $609.38 for that week. Now, to meet my minimum requirements, I need to top him up to $750. So that means I need to give him an additional $140.62. Now I click save. That will then update that to be $750 taxable earnings. So now I've met my minimum requirements to be eligible for the JobKeeper payment. Now you may note that again, that did not have any superannuation guarantee as it is exempt from superannuation. So basically once we're all done with that, I've met my minimum requirements. So Nick's got his minimum $750 per week or $1,500 per fortnight, and likewise with myself. So I'm ready to go with lodging this with the ATO. So now I'll finalize my pay run. I will publish my pay slips if necessary and click finalize. Then once that's finalized, again, you just need to lodge with the ATO. As it's a sample company, it does not have the button there. However, right here, you need to click the button, lodge that with the ATO, and that will lodge the STP lodgement with them. This is very, very, very important that you do lodge the STP with the ATO. If you do not, this will make your process of applying and maintaining eligibility very, very difficult. So we highly endorse, make sure you lodge with the STP. If you're not registered with STP, register, get on board now. This make your life a lot easier and a lot less burdensome. So definitely do that. Now, obviously make sure that you do actually pay your top-ups to your employees. Don't hold that back. It's very important that you do pay that, as this whole process and this whole entire system will be audited and will be reviewed by the ATO in some cases. So please make sure you are ticking all the boxes that you need to do to make sure that you are safe and that you're out of the hands of the ATO and in any future audit issues. I hope this video was useful for everybody. It's a very, very tedious process. I understand that. However, hopefully this has made it a little bit easier for you to understand what you need to do, how do you make sure everything's set up and done correctly so that you do maintain your eligibility requirements. Obviously, remember that you do need to keep your nomination forms on hand. Do make sure you pay your employees that $750 per week or $1,500 per fortnight. Do maintain records to prove that your turnover has dropped by 30%. And do make sure that you do your monthly lodgements with the ATO through your business portal or through your account at Highview. Please don't hesitate to ask us any questions, either down in the comments below or by shooting us an email or giving us a call, and we'll be able to assist you as best we can. If you have any sort of intricate details, definitely check out the QuickBooks instructional guide. It is very good, it's very informative, it's very straightforward if you do run through that. So please do spend 5 to 10 minutes before you do this, just to read through that and get your head around this, pretty difficult but straightforward process once you know what you're doing. Thanks, have a good night, and thanks for spending 10, 15, 20 minutes, or how long this video ends up going for, watching me take this video for you. Cheers.